The Shed Show is proudly brought to you by McMats, the cost-effective, environmentally friendly solution for your shed floor.
Out the back, down the yard, it's my shed. Have some fun, maybe hide with my friends. The Shed Show, the Shed Show, the Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on, the Shed Show, the Shed Show. Let's go, the Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on.
G'day and welcome to The Shed Show. Have we got a ripper program for you today? We visit the purpose-built elite sheds of Southern Rod and Custom, where world-class machines are created and loved. It's up and away with Captain Karl. I'm in the cockpit of a full-on flight simulator as we do laps around Tulla from the comfort of a backyard shed. My two pooches shed their hair with a full detail in Darlene's Doggy Day Spa. Hayley explains the one-handed rule of Shediquette. It's okay, you won't go blind. And young shoegazers Rathead revisit Smokey's shed for a grunge-inspired shed session. All that and more on today's Shed Show. Shane Rowe created Southern Rod and Custom back in 1988 in Deniliquin. It's grown to become one of the most recognised and respected names in the car building and resto industry. It moved into its own purpose-built industrial sheds last year, and today we're here to check it out. Shane lives and breathes cars, and he's been described as the Michelangelo of car builders in Australia. But there's more to this shed story. Shane, great to see you once again. Long time no see.
Yeah,
welcome back to the Shed Show.
Thanks, mate.
Of course, a lot of people may recognise Shane from we're at your home shed with the guitars, building the guitars. But
another sideline.
Your other passion, possibly your business, but this is your real passion. Now, they reckon you build muscle cars with the speed of a Porsche. Southern Rod and Custom. How many builds do you have to your name?
Probably over the last 30, 35 years, it's been probably 250 to 300 full, complete builds, and thousands more what we call part work.
And of course, many multiple award winners in there as well.
We've been lucky. I mean, you know, it's not that there's not other companies around that can do what we do. It's just that we've been lucky in customer base that we've had guys that can afford to do the cars we want to build, and therefore we turn out a top quality product. Our base car, full complete build from nothing right through to registration is running around the 250 mark.
And out of all these builds that you've done in this fantastic facility, which we're going to get a guided tour with the next generation shortly, but do you have a favourite car?
Probably, no, not really. I mean, all of them. My main customer is quite a well-known business person around town in Shepparton here. He's given us the freedom to build a lot of special cars. Probably the one that we built for him, which was one of Australia's top show cars, is 57 Chev Bel Air. It's probably my most favourite one. It's not here at the moment. We'll be here next week. But each car just becomes party, and you remember every car as it goes out the door. And
well, Shane, it's a credit to you. I reckon we'd better go and have a tour around these great new Southern Rod and Custom premises.
Facilities they are too.
It's fantastic. Southern Rod and Custom has evolved with new blood and new premises. To take us on a tour is next generation car building superstar, Matty Taylor.
G'day Whiskers, how are you?
Good mate, good to see you. Good spot too.
It's beautiful.
What happens in this part here?
This is a fabrication shed. So many hours go into this area and a lot of skill, and this is Big Daddy's domain.
Big Daddy's domain. Who's Big Daddy, you?
Shane.
Shane, okay, yep.
All the chassis fabrication. We've got a full machine shop, sheet metal work. This is where a major part of the build happens.
Okay, Matty, this is the first shed. This is where it first starts. This is where it evolves. Where do we go to from here?
After this, it's off to body and paint.
We better go and have a look.
All right.
So, Matty, what happens in this area?
This is our refinishing department.
The refinishing department?
Yeah.
So this is where all your panel work done on your painting?
This is where we go over all the finer details. All of the gaps and everything get measured down to the millimetre. We do all the filler work, all the primer work, all the paint, and then finish it off with all the polishing.
You've got a few jobs on the go at the moment?
A few. Got a 68 Shelby.
Yep.
A 1960 Cadillac.
Yep.
36 Roadster. Yeah, some cool cars.
My heart's melting. Where to after this?
After this, it's off to assembly.
Let's go. So, Matty, we've come from the paint shop into the assembly line. The assembly area. What goes on in this part?
Well, this is where it all comes together, Whiskers. This is where all the body trims and exterior parts get fitted, all the mechanical, all the interior, it all comes together. We've got a few jobs on the go in here at the moment. We've got a 72 Plymouth Barracuda.
Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Can I take that home, please?
Yeah, no worries.
And of course, is that a HK Monaro?
HK Monaro, yeah.
Oh, dream car. Matty, I hope I'm not drooling. What happens with the finished product? Where to next?
Well, mate, you better come and have a look at the showroom.
All right, I'm looking forward to this one. Matt, this is a work of art in itself.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
And the cars are a work of art, a masterpiece.
They are.
These aren't all yours, are they?
No, I wish.
They're customer cars, of course. You've done a great job. And I've got to ask you about the mural on the wall, because of course we are based in Shepparton. Is this the old Shepparton Ford dealership, is it?
That's right. We've got Smith Motors up here. They were the Ford dealer. And Goulburn Valley Motors, they were the local GM dealer.
Who's done this? Who's created for it? A couple of the graffiti artists, I believe.
Yeah, they're a husband and wife team from Melbourne. They came up and spent a couple of weeks here. 90 pressure packs later and 17 days, and
there we go.
Yeah.
Southern Rod and Custom has been labelled the best rod shop in Australia with the best facilities. And after today's tour, there's no denying it. Congratulations, Shane. Well done, Matty. Next generation, and we'll come back when the showroom's complete for the big launch.
Shed Shorts. Tips for a better shed.
Tim, sheds are creative spaces, and you can be super creative with tiles from McMats Carpets. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right, mate. So when you come down to our large shed, you can browse around and choose the tiles for whatever you want to do. Create the floor the way how you want to do it.
What sort of sizes do they come in?
So you got your 46 centimetre squared tile, 50 centimetre squared. You got a plank tile, 25 centimetres, and metre tiles. The main size we'll have is 50 centimetres.
Because they come in all these different shapes and colours, you can sort of get a bit creative with your own styles. You can mix and match, is that right?
Yep, mate, should see the stuff our customers do. They come in here, they'll browse through our factory, they'll get a base colour, and they'll go and get some reds. They'll throw in some reds. A lot of people do a checkerboard.
Your own football club?
Yeah, that's right. Anything you want to do. You can do your nice sitting lounge, depends on what type of shed you got. Do a nice sitting area, good tiles in there, underneath your cars, all that sort of stuff. You can put your rougher one, something that you're going to be pulling up, hitting with a high pressure hose and hanging out to dry, something you're always maintaining. Anything that happens to the tile, you can just pull it up and replace it, because you'll always buy spares. That's what's so good about having a carpet tile on the floor.
Versatiles.
Yes.
Talk to the boys at McMats Carpets today about carpet tiles for your shed.
The Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on.
If you want to be looking shed sharp, make sure you get to the website and pick up some Shed Show merch.
The Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on.
After the break, it's a dog day afternoon in Darlene's shed. But before that, check your baggage, make sure you have your boarding pass, and fasten your seatbelts as we take off in Captain Karl's shed.
The Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on. The Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on.
Now, I've been accused of flying off to my shed quite a fair bit, but today we're going to meet a fella, Karl, who actually does fly in his own backyard shed.
G'day, Whiskers.
Nice to meet you, Karl.
Thank you. So today we're just going to do a basic circuit around Melbourne. So we're going to take off on runway 16, go around and land again back on the tarmac.
Take off.
Yeah, just grab a seat on the right-hand side there, mate.
No worries.
Right now you're sitting in the cockpit of a 737NG, real one that I've imported, converted into a flight simulator.
Now, Karl, do you have an aeronautical background or you just love flying?
No, well, I don't have an aeronautical background. I love flying in my shed.
Yeah. Well, how did all this start then?
The program you see running out here that runs the visuals is normally just a program that's purchased to run on a desktop computer or a laptop. And it started off, yep, exactly like that. Laptop, a joystick, and a pair of cheap rudder pedals. And for whatever reason, well, that just wasn't enough, and it just grew from there.
So it's the real deal?
It's the real deal. Some of the panels are replicas, like this autopilot panel here, but the vast majority of what you see up here is the real malarkey.
And is this how you unwind, Karl?
It is. You've hit the nail on the head there.
You come out to your shed and you take off to anywhere in the world.
I can take off to anywhere in the world. There's actually 22,000 airports in the database that I can fly on. But the big advantage, of course, is that it's a simulator. It's private, it's mine in my shed, so there may be a beer or two.
I was going to say, do you sit and have a can while you're flying around?
You can. There are stubby holders or can holders on either side there, so this is important. I generally fly from Melbourne because it's the closest airport to here where I can land a 737. Can't land in Bendigo, the runway's not big enough. So I'll fly from Melbourne up to Sydney and then might do a hop across to Adelaide from Sydney or something like that, and then back to Melbourne if I'm going to have a big night on it. But generally, and I mean in flying and with the beers, yes. But generally, usually what I'll do is if I'm, had a big day at work, I'll come back and I'll just do one flight.
Does the family get involved? You got kids?
The kids do. The wife's more interested in the sewing and stuff and than the sim. As a matter of fact, she reckons if she sits in here, it gives her a bit of vertigo. So she accepts what I do, but she's not overly interested in it.
Now listen, if we were up there flying in a 737 somewhere, maybe heading over to Thailand or somewhere, and the captain got crook, couldn't land us, could you actually take over and fly it after your practice in here, even after a few beers?
Look, in theory, possibly yes, but at the end of the day, I think being thrown into that situation and all the nerves and everything I've learnt about this, which is ultimately still only the basics compared to what a real airline pilot knows, I think the nerves would, I don't know, but to be honest with you, I think it might be difficult.
I'm having a chat to you and I've noticed the way you've been here and I reckon you could do it, Karl.
I'd give it a red
faith in you. I would be your co-pilot.
I think you'd want to have faith in me if you were there and I would get you up as my co-pilot. But look, I'd give it a red hot go, put it that way.
Can we go for a flight?
Righto. So what we'll do is release the brakes. We'll go through a bit of stuff here. Going to rev the engines up to 40%, both engines, make sure they're stable.
Gee, we're starting to build up speed now, Karl.
Starting to build up speed. Back you go, bit further, that's it. Righto. Now put the nose down a bit more. Positive rate of climb, gear up. That's it, you're flying.
Giddy up. Come fly with me, come fly away. Hey, this is fun, Karl.
It is.
No wonder you do it.
I'll put it on autopilot, just let it fly for a second.
Oh, then we can just cruise.
We can just cruise. Hands off.
Hands free.
So it's following that cross all by itself.
Can we come in for a landing now?
Now, do you want to have a go at landing? It's just going to be a bit difficult with the visual over there.
No, I'll let you land that, Captain Karl, seeing this is only my first flight.
That's okay.
Don't get nervous, Karl.
Sweat.
30, 20, 10.
Touchdown.
There we go. Some reverses on there.
That was a beautiful landing, Karl.
So there we go, mate.
Thank you very much for flying Shed Show Airlines, Karl, and being captain. I felt completely safe with you.
No worries. Thank you. You're welcome anytime, mate.
We'll have to come flying once again on the Shed Show. Cheers. Thank you.
Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on.
If you want to be part of the Shed Show team, make sure you follow us on social media. Or you can check us out on the website, theshedshow.com.au.
Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on.
Today we're going to meet Darlene, whose shed may just win Best in Show. She's turned her passion into a doggy day spa in the backyard shed. Come on, boys, time for a bath. This way. Oh, well, we started already. But Rocco, come on. Few manners, buddy. Rocco, this way. Come on. Here we go. Oh. They love their bath. Darlene, welcome to the Shed Show.
Thank you.
And thank you for inviting me into your shed, although it is a twofold thing. You're going to be washing the boys.
Yep.
And they love the doggy day spa, they certainly do. Have you always been a dog lover? Is that how you got into it?
I certainly have.
Would you actually prepare dogs for shows and so
Yes,
forth?
certainly do.
What about this little fella here?
No, he's just a pet. He's what they call a cavoodle. He's a cross between a cavalier and a poodle.
A cavoodle, all right.
Yep.
They're very popular nowadays, these crossbreeds,
Very,
aren't
very,
they?
very. They're called designer dogs. They are very, very popular. They've got a lovely little temperament, very, very sweet, but they do need a lot of grooming and maintenance to keep up with them.
And that keeps you rather busy here in the backyard shed.
Very, very busy.
Now, you actually have your own dogs, of course, which you do show. You've been to the Royal Melbourne Show and a few other shows. And have you won any Best in Shows? I noticed the ribbons on the wall.
Yes, haven't got a Best in Show. I got a runner-up Best in Show in Sydney a couple of weeks ago at the Siberian Specialty up there.
You're very knowledgeable about dogs too. I noticed you've picked up quite a few things with my dogs as well. So how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing this for about 25 years now. So started off as a hobby and gradually burnt it into a business.
Do you have to get to know all the dogs? They've all got different personalities, just like people?
Exactly. They're all different. Every single one of them has a different temperament. Each one has a different personality.
How did it end up in the backyard shed? I suppose it's convenient because you are working from home, but I notice you've got this shed, it's pretty big, and you've also extended with a few more sheds outside as well. What's how do you think about all this?
Yes, he got thrown out of the big shed because I needed it for the smaller one wasn't big enough, and then I've slowly accumulated the smaller shed, so now we've moved him over to my outdoor eating area, which has now been converted into a third shed.
Well, we know who is top dog in this relationship, don't we?
Yes.
And of course, who takes priority. Now, this would have been convenient when the kids were little and all that sort of stuff as well for you?
It was great. That was the whole idea of it when I started, because at that stage I was a single mum, and being able to be at home through school holidays and not having daycare or anything like that, the kids could come home and I was home all the time, whether they were sick, whatever else, I could just keep an eye on them. So
well, this is a bit like doggy daycare, isn't it? Because I know a lot of people drop their dogs off in the morning and come back later at night.
Pretty much. Beautiful boy. Good man.
Well, Darby, the old shed dog, he loves his bath, doesn't he, Darlene?
He certainly does.
Yeah, look at him there smiling away. Now, of course, you love to pamper the pooches.
Yep.
And I know I'm standing here, but you can be honest. Who's the most fussiest, the dog or the owner?
Definitely the owners. The dogs really couldn't care what I do to them. They just enjoy their bath. Most of them enjoy their bath.
Should dogs be washed all the time, weekly or
Not all the time.
monthly or every 3 months, or do you just go with the seasons or whenever they start to stink like I do with mine?
Yeah, pretty much when they stink. Always make sure that if you wash your dog regularly, make sure you use a really good conditioner and shampoo, mainly to put the oils back into the coat. But the oils are important on a dog. They need those oils, otherwise you can end up with skin problems. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. Exfoliating gloves are just so good. And we've got the facial shampoo. It's tearless, so it doesn't aggravate the eyes. And with that, we wash their faces. You wouldn't want to be somebody washing them every day or anything like that, or twice a week. It'd be too much.
You're right, Darbs, you're safe. No overwashing for him. And of course, Rocco, get down. Oh! And of course, I just had a bath and a shower. Thank you very much, Darbs.
It's a prerequisite of the job. Being wet, covered in hair, and smelling of dog is...
Oh, well, it's a dog day afternoon, isn't it?
That's pretty much it. Pretty much it.
Okay, in the truck. Whoop, in the truck, up. All right, well, thanks to Darlene's Doggy Day Spa, these guys are looking $1 million, or should that be $1 million paws, Darlene? And they definitely are best in the Shed Show.
Stick around, Shedders, because after this message from our caring and sharing sponsors, Hayley gives us a sheducation on the one-handed rule applicable for chowing down in the shed. Plus, we unearth a couple of ratheads in search of Nirvana and the shed of the Holy Smoky.
Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on. The Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on.
And it's great to be back in your shed, H, for Shediquette.
Thanks, Whisky.
And of course, you did have a few prerequisites, I remember when you were telling us when we first came into your shed about shed food, the type of thing you can have. Don't be lazy with the old normal stuff, but also there is a prerequisite you were telling me about, what we need to do with our hands.
That's right. Now, shed food, I think one of the golden rules is, one thing has got to be easy, one thing you've got to be able to eat in one hand.
What do you mean? With this pretzel, I'm feeling thirsty.
That's right.
And I've got a can in the other hand.
That's exactly right.
Oh, I
Or
see what you mean.
You might have a cup of tea.
A cup of tea as well. Okay, so it's easy to handle. We
That's
can
right.
eat, we can drink, understand.
That's right. And no mess.
No mess at all. And of course, the normal fare that most people do serve up in a shed.
That's right. Look, if you There's, you know, party pies, cocktail frankfurts. If you eat enough of those, you'll glow in the dark. I'll give you the tip.
Yeah, that's not true. That's a heart attack waiting to happen, isn't it?
right.
Yes, I can feel my cholesterol rising as I look at it. Okay.
That's right. So another good tip is food on the stick. Easy. You can put some vegetables on it, things like that. Cook it up. Magnificent.
Obviously, we have to cook that, but that reminds me of Dame Edna's corn horn. And what do we have over here?
Also, look, a few staples that are easy. Trusty salami, cabana, some good crackers, plenty of cheeses to explore. All easy to eat, easy to prepare. We've got some stuffed olives. Also, we've got some homemade marinated black olives that are just delicious.
So with Shediquette H, you've raised the bar.
That's right.
So 2 basic rules then, H.
First rule is you've got to be able to eat in one hand. Second rule is it's got to be easy.
If you want to see extended interviews on any of the segments, just hit up the Shed Show website.
Let's go. The Shed Show. The Shed Show. Come on.
We're Rathead. We're from Shepparton, Victoria, and we're rocking out in Smokey's shed. This song's called Like You.
If you're loving the show just like me, make sure you like and shed us on the Shed Show Facebook page. Next week on the show,
Series 1 of the Shed Show reaches its final climax, and have we got a jam-packed show and Russ's jam-packed shed. Wait until you see Russ get a little tipsy in his cave. It's back to Roberto's tiny shed of knowledge as the Connie talks conservation and his role in educating the planet. We also catch up with Neil again. Not only is he the master of his own Aussie beer shed, his backyard is a shrine to our heritage and our sheds of the past. Plus, it's party time at Shed Quarters as the Whisky Lizards work cheap and bust out our final shed session for the series. Can't wait to see you in the shed.
The Shed Show, the Shed Show, the Shed Show, the Shed Show. Come on, the Shed Show, the Shed Show. Let's go. The Shed Show, the Shed
The Shed Show is brought to you by these loving people. If you'd like to sponsor the show and shed the love, get in touch today. Cheers.